Welcome back to the course on mobile communication computing. And in the previous lecture, we were discussing about the fundamentals which are related to the clustering and the sectorization and then the channel allocation, right? And we discussed about the few scenarios, right? And we discussed about the microcells, how the microcells can be used within a cell, right? And we're discussing about the channel allocations that we discussed about. Also we discussed about the acceptor cell and then donor cell and then fixed channel assessment, and we started with the dynamic channel assessment. When you talk about dynamic channel assessment, in that, so there will be a central pool which completely maintains the list of channel which is available, and so depends upon the user or depends upon the availability or the demand, the channel will be allocated to the specific cells, right? Depends upon the demand. When we talk about the hybrid allocation scheme, right, which is the combination of both a fixed channel allocations and then the dynamic channel allocations, right? So it is an hybrid method in which both depends upon the situation, fixed channel as well as the dynamic channel allocation, which will be takes place depends upon the service or the number of channel which is required, right? Now, next we'll discuss about an important topic which is an handover or called a handoff, right? So, as I mentioned earlier, when a user moves from one cell to another cell while a call is in progress, the channel from the new cell is assigned. So here, this is an example which illustrates the process of handover or handoff. So this is the base station one, right? Here we have the tower, right? Base station, right? Which provides a coverage till this part. Let's assume that. Suppose if the user is in traveling, right? The person is traveling in a car and is moving the geographic location of the base station one, and then leaving the base station 1 and then entering into the base station 2. Here the base station 2 which provides a coverage till this part, so this is called a footprint. In that cases, right, if the person is moving from this cell to this cell and the footprint of the cell 1 to the footprint of the cell 2, right, and in that cases the call should be hand over from the base station of the first cell, from the base station 1 to the another here refers to that base station 2. All the operations related to the call are another services which are completely transferred from the old base station to the new base station where the user enters. So this process is called handoff or handover, right? So this will avoid a no call drop process, right? Is it clear about what is meant by this handover and then handoff? So I was explaining about whenever you are in a traveling in a train or no by car, right? And you will be moving from one place to other place, though you are in moving, and you will be getting an uninterrupted services. So how this happens? Because initially you might be started your journey from the Bandra station, and then after that, if you are in a call and you will be crossing Car station and then Santa Cruz and then Andheri, you will be crossing a multiple geographical location. Even after you are crossing your locations, and you will be getting the uninterrupted services that is possible only due to this handover, right? From the Bandra station, all the controls will be transferred to the car station or car road base station, and from that again, whenever you move to the next cell again or next base station, the control will be transferred from the neighboring cells. So by the way, so this handoff will takes place will provide a continuous services without any call drop. Is it clear for what is meant by this handover and handoff? Next, we will discuss about the different parameters which is to be considered by any the telecommunication services to provide or to initiate the handoff. Right, the signal strength of the base station with which communication is being made along with the signal strength of the surrounding stations. It completely depends on that. See, when we talk about that, if the person is moving far away from the base station, in that case, it's automatically, right, the signal will be very less. In that cases, again, so there are that will be called as a noise, where the user or the subscriber will not get the network coverage in the reasons when the person or the subscriber is moving far away from the base station. So that in that location, right, you will try to find out that is there any neighboring signals or neighboring station or neighbor base station is available, which I could say that high strength signal. In that cases, the signal that will automatically that will try to capture the signal from the next base station. So this is the handoff which will completely based on the base station signal strength, right? Suppose if the current base station signal strength is very low, it will automatically try to find out the neighboring cells where the signal strength is high, and depends upon that the handover will takes place, right? So here the handover which completely measures based on the quality link or signals. The first one is that the signal level, and the second one is that bit error rate. Bit error rate again which could be called as a noise, right? Again the signal level which is completely depends on the strength of the signal, right? And both mobile station and the base station perform the quality measurement on the current link as well as the neighboring signals. And so this will measures the strength of the signals on the both the old base station as well as the new base station, and depends on that if any cell which has the highest strength, automatically that will be the mobile station will be carried over to the new cells, right? So here, when you talk about handoff margin, in case if it finds any differences, the quality measurement is greater than the threshold value, which is called a handoff margin. Suppose if the signal is a very low value, which is less than the threshold value, when you talk about the handover margin is the some threshold value. If the signal strength is exceeds or below to the threshold value, automatically your mobile station or your base station will initiate the handoff process, right? Whenever the signal strength reaches or goes below to the margin, and automatically handoff initialization will takes place immediately. Handoff process will initiate it, and that will be completed, right? So this is based on this criteria, maybe based on the signal strength as well as the noise, right? And your handoff will initiate. Now again, when we talk about different types of handover, so this is a quick handover types. Again, there are different other handovers also which available, right? Inter-cell and then intra-cell, right? And then inter-MSc, intra-MSc, that we will cover in the next chapter when we discuss about GSM and other technologies, right? So here there are two basic types of handover. When we talk about the first category is that hard handover. When you talk about the hard handover, is that the handover will takes place, right, where the call interruption will takes place, right? The call will be disconnected, and automatically the sometimes no you will get the interrupted services are when you move to the next coverage area of the next cell. In that cases again you will get the network services, and then you can start calling again, or you can start getting the services again, right? So this in case of hard handover, the call will be disconnected or service will be disconnected, right, whenever move from one base station to other base station. When you talk about the soft handover, in that cases, right, you will not get any disconnection with the calls or services, right, without any dropping of calls, and you will be getting a uninterrupted services even if you move from one base station to the other base station's footprint. So normally all the telecommunication operators, they try to provide the soft handover policy only. Now, when we talk about the different types of handovers in the different generation which is used, right? In the first generation we discussed about, which is they have used network controlled handoff, right? In that cases, the network itself which will decide whether the handoff should be takes place or not. The signal strength measures were made by the base station in terms supervised MSC. MSC is the mobile switching center, right? And is the control unit which will provide a connection to the other base station or other the public switching telephone network and all other things, right? Again, when we talk about the second 2G system which uses a mobile assisted handoff, right? In that cases, the mobile center measures the power changes received from the nearby base stations and notifies to the two base stations. So it depends upon the signal strength which is measured, right? And the again the handover or handoff will be initiated. When we talk about the 3G generation system, the mobile station measures the power. Here the mobile station which is the mobile terminal or the cell phone which uses, right? The mobile station measures the power from the adjacent base station and automatically upgrades the channel to its near base station. So here your mobile terminal in the first the two cases, your base station will make a decision whether the handoff will initiate or not. When you talk about the third generations, right, your mobile phone or handset, right, which will keep on sense the strength of the signals, and depends upon the quality of the strength, it initiates the handoff process, right. It will send the request to the base station. By receiving the request, now base station will take further steps to complete the handoff process. So these are the following techniques which were used in the different generations. Is there any doubt so far with the topic which I covered? Quickly you can write it in the chat box. Then we'll start with the new topic. Is there any doubt? Okay, Prachi, thank you. Okay, I hope it's clear for all of you, and so I'll move further. Can you all see the presentation screen about the electromagnetic waves? So this is another topic which I'm going to start in this session. Anyone can write in a chat box. Is that screen is visible for all of you? Anyone can write in a chat box quickly. Is that screen is visible? Bharat, can you unmute yourself and say reply? Is that screen is visible?
Yes, sir, it is.
Okay. So in today's this topic, and we'll start with the electromagnetic waves. And when we talk about electromagnetic waves, its electromagnetic spectrum is more familiar to you than you might think, and the list of signal which it uses, right? And you might be using your microwave oven, right? Microwave you use to heat your food, and cell phones, whatever you use apart, are the part of electromagnetic spectrum, right? And there are some the visible lights, and then we use some X-rays, and then we use the gamma rays, right? And then the laser light which uses, right? And the microwave which uses in the microwave for baking and other things. Whatever the frequency which uses, right? The signal which uses for the radio or radio, I mean radio broadcasting, FM radio, right? And the TV broadcasting, and then the cell phones, all these things, which we call as the electromagnetic spectrum, right? The light that the light that our eyes can see is also part of the electromagnetic spectrum. This visible part of the electromagnetic spectrum consists of the colors that we see in the rainbow, right? Which from the reds and oranges and the other colors, right? Which is available in the visible lights. Each of these colors actually corresponds to a different wavelength wavelength of the light. So based on the color, and there could be the different frequency which is associated. So when we talk about what is meant by this electromagnetic waves, now here you can see that there are some blue arrows and then red arrows, right? When we talk about the blue arrows, which is moves down to up, right, or the vertically. When you talk about the pink arrows, which will move, no, which is horizontally, right? When you talk about the electromagnetic waves are formed with an electric field when the electron is moves, right? Along with that, the couples with the magnetic field. So here the electric field which is in the blue, and that is combining the magnetic fields, and that will form electromagnetic waves. When we talk about the electromagnetic waves, right, the energy of the electromagnetic waves, right, which is the sun's energy reaches earth in the form of electromagnetic waves. So this is a basic source of the electromagnetic waves, right? And we call that type energy which is called the radiations. When we talk about the radiations, right, again, so from the earth we will be getting the signals or sun's energy that reaches the earth in the form of the electromagnetic waves. And when we talk about the radio waves, microwaves, ultraviolet waves, and then gamma rays are the types of electromagnetic waves, and they differ from each other in the wavelength as well as frequency. In the later part, we'll discuss about what is in this wavelength as well as frequency. But all the waves which uses, and they are going to use the different frequency range. Now, what the speed they move? When we talk about that electromagnetic waves, right, and so that will move, that will travel in the speed of the light. Vacuum space is the space that contains no air or gas, and electromagnetic waves travel at the same speed in a vacuum, right? Electromagnetic signals are waves, so that travels at the light of the speed, right? In the other medias, whenever if any electromagnetic wave it propagates any other objects, might be the wall or surfaces or any other objects, automatically due to the scatter, and the speed will decrease. This is what the basic property of electromagnetic waves. So as I mentioned, right, the electrons, when propagated either in a guided media or the free space, follow a wave like a pattern. So here the guided media might be your the connected wires, or might be the free space, right, which will know the electron will propagate, which will travel through the guided or unguided media, and they are both electrical as well as magnetic field, which I explained with the diagram, right? In the electrical field, no, which was moving vertically, and then when we talk about the magnetic field which moves horizontally, and both the electric and the magnetic field which combines and which forms a electromagnetic waves. So for initially this phenomenon or this concept which was identified by James Maxwell, and then which was completely experimented as well as demonstrated by the Hertz in the year of 1887. All of these waves vary with the time and direction. In direction and intensity, intensity is the strength, and then direction is in which way, I mean, in which direction the signal which travels, right? As I mentioned, this electromagnetic waves will move in the speed of light. Whenever it enters into the any materials, again the speed will decrease. Now these are the some example which we see as the electromagnetic signals, right? Might be the light waves, and then voice, and then the radio waves, and other the broadcasting, the TV, and then other mobile phones, whatever we uses. All these waves, which are the part of the microwaves, which uses, right? All the are the example of the way electromagnetic waves which use in our daily life. When we talk about the representation of electromagnetic waves, so which will be represented based on that the time and then frequency, right? Time here you can find that the function of the time. So here the frequency or the amplitude which will vary based on the time. Here the frequency which will vary depends on the time, right? So when we talk about the amplitude is the maximum strength of the signal, that is called the amplitude. When we talk about the frequency, the number of time it repeats in a particular time period. So here, so based on the two parameters, amplitude and then frequency, right, the signal will be represented. Right. So here, this, as I mentioned, electromagnetic signals, so which will be completely depends on the two parameters. One is the frequency and then wavelength, right? Wavelength is the distance between one wave of crest to the another next, right? So if there are two waves and distance between the two waves, right, are at the peak of the signals, so that will be called as the wavelength. That is going to be represented in lambda. So here, this is the difference, or this is the distance measured between the two peak. I mean, peak of the two signals, or I mean, the two peak values of the same signal. So that is called the wavelength. When you talk about the frequency, is the number of waves within a given period of time. So here you can see the diagram. So here you can find that here the frequency is very less, so maybe there's no traveling in the slower speed. Here when we compare with this, the below frequencies, the number of repetition, number of cycle in the particular time unit is high. When compared with this amplitude modulation, here in the frequency modulations, the number of repetition is more, right? So that is called the frequency. When you talk about the frequency, the number of waves or number of cycles, right? One cycle can be called as a hertz, 1 hertz. Number of hertz or number of cycle which presents in a particular time period, that is called a frequency, right? So here this is an amplitude. uh, Again, the waves can be classified as the periodic wave and then aperiodic waves. When you talk about the periodic waves which repeats itself over a time. So sine wave is an example, or digital signals are the example of the periodic waves. When you talk about the periodic waves, the signal which will repeat in the specific pattern. So here you will find that the signal which travels in the same speed and then same pattern. When you talk about a periodic wave, so there is no specific repetitions. So this signals wave, the signal can travel maybe depends on the signal strength and other factors. Maybe the audio signals, when the person speaks very less or very slow, the audio signal will be less, and then when the person speaks very loud, again the signal will vary, right? So this could be the example of the periodic wave as well as a periodic wave. Again, so this is a simple expression or mathematical expression through which electromagnetic wave which can be represented, right? Which is a sine in bracket 2 phi ft plus phi symbol, which is a stands for an amplitude. Amplitude is the peak value of the particular signal. So from the base to the peak value. So this is called an amplitude, and is the time, one time unit, the amount of time which is required, or the one time unit may be the second, right? And then f is the frequency. When you talk about the frequency, number of repetition which takes place in the particular time period t. And pi, again, so this is a phase shift key. When you talk about the phase shift key, right, in which angle the signal which deviates, that I will explain in the next slide also, where you get the shift angle values, right? So this is an explanation which is related to the amplitude. When you talk about an amplitude, the maximum value or strength of the signal over a time. So this amplitude which is measured in terms of volts. So here there are different signals, right? So this is different color signals, right, which is red, green, and then the blue, right? So here this is for the first signal. So this is the amplitude. Again, for the second signal, so this is an amplitude 1, and then amplitude 2, and then amplitude 3. So these are the amplitude values which are depends on the signal strength. Amplitude will be, simply you remember that the maximum value of the strength, right, whether it is 1, 2, 3 or minus 1, 2, 3. So that is the amplitude. When you talk about the frequency, right, the number of cycles per unit. So here I could say that, so if I consider about this, the blue signal, how many cycle which is repeated, say I consider this is 1 second, right, from here to here, if it is 1 second. Suppose if I consider from here to here it is 1 second, how many cycles which is performed by this, which is existed in this the blue signal. So here start from here, it's complete, this is half, and this is completely, here it is one signal. And so when you talk about this pink one which starts here and half here, and it completes one cycle here. So depends on that the different uh, cycles which exist in the particular time period. So here when you consider about this color signal, Now the frequency is 3, so that means that so which is repeated 3 times. So here 1, 2, 3, and the time will be automatically, the time period will be the amount of time taken to complete one cycle, which is no, which is time seconds or millisecond. That is the formula to measure the time is equal to 1 upon the frequency. So here this the blue signal, right, which has the 3 cycle in the particular time unit. When we consider about this the light blue signal, so that consists of only one cycle, right? Again, so here when we consider about this big signal, green signal, here it starts here and it moves here, and then so this is half and this is one cycle. So in order to complete one cycle, it requires 2 seconds. Is it clear for all of you? When you talk about the frequency, the number of cycle it repeats in a particular time period, that is the frequency, right? Now when we talk about the phase shifts, right? So phase shifts are the shift from the origin unit is a degree or a radians. So here I could say that, so here this is the phase shift 0 because the signal which is started from the source itself, right? Again, when we talk about phase shift 90, right, here the signal which starts in the middle, right, here at one value, right, again it started, right? Again, when you talk about phase shift 180-degree, the signal which originates in the reverse direction, here we start and goes to the negative and comes up, right? When you talk about again phase 90, again it started in the -1 value and which goes up and then goes down. So this is completely depends upon that where the signal originates, right? And so this is completely depends on the phase shift values. When you talk about the other parameters, I was explaining about the wavelength, right? When you talk about wavelength, is the distance covered by one cycle. So here I could say that this is one cycle. One cycle I can start from here. Let's assume here, from here to here, or this place to this place, from one peak to other peak of the same signal, right? So that is called the distance or wavelength, I could say that, right? Wavelength is the distance covered by one cycle, right? And is the distance between the two peak values of the wave, and that is going to be represented in the lambda, right? And when we talk about this again, so this is again for the lambda 2 distance between these signals. So here this is frequency is less, and so this is frequency is medium with the lambda 2. When you take about the lambda 3, here the frequency is more. When the frequency increases, automatically the distance reduces. That is, the distance is proportional to the frequency. If the frequency is more, the distance will be less. If the frequency is less, again the distance will be more between the two peak value of the signal. Right? Again, when you talk about the spectrum as well as bandwidth, spectrum refers to that the range of frequencies comprising a signal, as we discussed about the microwave signals and then the radio signals and other signals. All these signals which will run or which will not travel the specific frequencies, so that we will discuss about, right? And bandwidth, which is the width of the spectrum, right? And the radio frequency which may lies within this the range, right? Maybe the 3 megahertz to 3 gigahertz. That is the bandwidth. In the bandwidth, specific bandwidth, the radio signal that will be used. That is called the spectrum as well as the bandwidth. Now, when we talk about the electromagnetic spectrum, right? Electromagnetic radiation is transmitted in waves or the particles at the different wavelength and frequencies. The broad range of wavelength is known as the electromagnetic spectrum. So this combines all the categories of the signals, right, which includes the 7 regions, right? That is including the radio wave frequencies, microwave, and then infrared, visible light, ultraviolet, X-rays, and then gamma rays. So in the next part or on the upcoming slide, we will discuss about what are the specific applications which are related to each waves, and then we'll discuss about the frequency in which these signals transmits. So these are the different the signal range which I was explaining, right? So when we talk about the frequency range here, the frequency is very less or low when compared when take radio signals. When we talk about the gamma rays, right, the frequency will be very high, right? So from the radio signal to the gamma rays, the frequency which is going to increase. Now here, so these are the different variations in the different, I could say that different radio signals and other signals, right? The first, the radio frequency, right, which will be used the specific purposes, right, and the application initially I'll explain, right, which which is used for the buildings as well as the telephone communications or the broadcasting and other things, right? When you talk about the microwave signal, which will be used for the honeybee detection and other the small kind of applications. When we talk about the infrared, right, which will be used to pinpoint. Okay, we'll start with this. In case if you have any doubt, you can quickly can write in the chat box, and don't forget to write the attendance in the chat box. And after this, immediately you can join in the webinar session. Do you have any doubts? Quickly write it in the chat box. Thank you, all of you. We will end the session and we'll meet in the next lecture as per your schedule. Thank you, all of you.